Welcome to the MMA Fancast Show. My name is Luke Pace, and welcome back to everyone who is already a subscriber to the YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber to MMA Fancast YouTube channel, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now. This is a longtime guest on the show who started coming on the show as an amateur MMA fighter and is now a professional MMA fighter and has been for several fights. This is the Hound-dog. Anthony Hogeback. Hound-dog,
Thank
welcome
you.
back to the show.
How are you?
Always great to see you. Always great to have you on the show. I'm doing very well. We should say he is coming to you live from the Stout Pittsburgh training facility nearest you.
Yeah, usually closing down the gyms most nights here during the weekdays, so I spend a lot of my time here.
Yes, you do. And you are a great fighter out of their gym. We're talking about the upcoming 247 Fighting Championship MMA event that's going down September 6th at the brand new arena that they have, the Sunny Days Arena at the Venue. And the new title of the event, now that they have their own venue, it's a really great name, is 247 MMA at the Venue Dose. So there you go. You're going to be one of the pro MMA fights at the second ever event for 247. What are your thoughts about getting back in the cage, particularly at this new venue? Did you make it to the opening to the opening event? And kind of what are your thoughts about 247 having a permanent venue? And then we'll get into the fight itself.
Yeah, I think it's super cool that they did that because they can put a lot more shows on. So there's just a lot more opportunity to fight, which I think is awesome for the area. And the venue looks pretty cool. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to go out there for the first show. I don't remember what I had going on, but I did want to get out there and kind of like feel it and get used to the environment of it. But everyone told me it's super cool. So yeah, I mean, I fought in some cool places. Like I just fought at the Maryland Live in March. Before that, the convention center, and
Oh yeah.
I fought casinos in Philly. Like, so I like that environment. That like kind of unusual environment's kind of cool to me. So I embrace it.
Well, that makes sense. That's the fighter's mindset. I've been, not 247, but I've been in some unique locations for MMA and then some really high end locations. And it's kind of like the classic man in arena poem, right? Like you do what you can inside the cage. And that even goes for all the way up to the UFC, right? Like still a cage, even if it has 30 or 40,000 people there. So, it's a really great thing to kind of get that mindset, particularly with the new venue. I'm sure you'll really like it. I think the biggest thing is that the red corner and the blue corner are now much different. One's on the first floor by kind of behind the cage, and one's upstairs, which is kind of cool because they're able to do that. Kind of have locations set up and all those type things. So really, really fun. And I was talking to your legendary coach out of Stout, Mike Wilkins. And I'm sure this is kind of public knowledge, but he and his beloved bride had one of their dates. I don't know if it was their first date, but they had one of their dates in the 247 venue years ago, back when it was a movie theater. So I thought that was kind of cool. We were chopping it up, talking about kind of the venue, and he was saying how cool it was for him to have come there in his teens on a date with his now wife and now back as a fighter, as a coach with fighters. So it's really just cool. You should come check it out. It's in North Versailles, or as my uncle insists to say, I say North Versailles. So if you're French, you're going to say it North Versailles. Everybody else, I think, pronounces it North Versailles. Let's get to the fight itself. You are going to be fighting Darius Miller. What are your thoughts on him? How did this matchup come together?
Um, I was looking for the fight around like the summertime, like the middle of summer, and then we signed for July 19th. We actually accepted somebody first because he wasn't on the table, and then they brought him to us and said he's like ready to go right now. We're like, okay, cool, we'll just get it signed. So that was going to happen in July, and then obviously the date changed for the first show, so we got pushed back to September for a bunch of reasons. So Yeah, I've been like getting ready for him for I feel like a long time now. So I'm just ready for the fight to be here. And he's good. He's experienced. He's fought a lot of good guys. He's I think he's got pretty much the same amount of fights as me, amateur and pro put together, like maybe one or two difference. But yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited to go in there and go compete.
Yeah, and that's the great attitude. One of the things I always say about fighters and matchups for fighters in amateur or early pro, and you're still in the early pro. You guys both have about 3 or 4 pro fights, but you're still at the time where you're adding. Fighters' game plans and their skill set change so much, which is a good thing, right? Like you're still adding quite a bit. He's still adding quite a bit. What type of study have you done on him? And without giving game plan away, where do you think matchups are good, or kind of like what are your thoughts on game planning? I know Mike Wilkins and the other coaches from Stout are famous for, not only preparing fighters as far as skill, but also game plans.
Yeah, I watched what I could find on him. Honestly, I had a hard time finding a lot of fights of his, so I just picked up a couple things that he does, and we worked on him. But I mean, that's about as vague as I can put it.
Sure.
But I did my research on him, as I'm sure he did on me. So yeah, that's what you got to do as a pro. Like you got to be prepared to go in there, and I think failing to prepare is preparing to fail kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I take that stuff pretty. So definitely watch my fair share of what I could find on him.
Sure, and that makes a lot of sense, and you always have to be prepared for the unexpected, but it's still great to put the work in. And I've always found from the coach's side that a lot of times when you're training just to train without an opponent marked and training for, um, it can be good, but it's maybe not as intense. And then when you start training like you've been training for months for this guy, it kind of picks up the training, picks up the intensity. So it's always good to kind of have that goal in mind. For you, which is great, you're early in your pro career, and we've seen a lot of fighters, particularly from the area, Ethan the Wolverine Goss, Kama Worthy, and John DeJesus, kind of some of the earlier Pittsburgh fighters. Mike got off to a good start, but a lot of the local fighters tend to challenge themselves with great opponents, and then kind of have to build up. And you've gotten off to a start where you're obviously now going to try to string some wins together. What do you think you've learned from some of the losses you picked up? Your opponent is kind of in the same spot, and I actually think these type of matchups for a pro fight are some of the most exciting to watch because there's a lot of skills there, and now you're both in a position where you really want to get your career on track, and there's a lot more desire and effort there.
Yeah, man, quite honestly, like the loss I took in March was real hard because I just felt like, and my coaches told me like, like you could see who the better fighter was that night. It just like you just weren't the better fighter that night. Like
Mm,
it's hard when that stuff happens, and because you put so much work in. Like I'm here till like this time at night, like 3-4 days of the week. Like a lot of time goes into this and a lot of sacrifice that people don't see and understand. So when you take a loss, like it's really hard. So it forced me to kind of like I wouldn't say humble in a way, but it like gave me a reality check. It's like, okay,
sure.
well, if we're gonna be successful in this, like this is what has to happen. So um and I just had to fix some things, outside the cage too, like just trying to get, you know, headed in a good path. Um so I tried to make sure, like right after that fight, I just made sure I fixed all that stuff before I even looked at another fight or thought about fighting. And I think a lot of that stuff helps me when I come in here because I get to come in here like free, like I can be here. So I've been doing that for like, um, 6 months now, and it feels like I just feel brand new. So I'm really excited to see how good the best version of myself can be.
Yeah, and that's a great mental attitude. Coming off a loss, particularly a disappointing loss, it can be tough. But I know you come from a great gym, and even your mindset there. And it's a
Yeah,
cliche, but there really is a learning process from when you lose.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound disrespectful towards my opponents. I just feel like I'm better than that. And I fought some good guys and good like they're very skilled in their own right, but I feel like I'm better than that. So that's why it's really tough when you take those losses and you just feel like you shouldn't have. So that's what's like been um in the back of my head since, I'm sure all fighters, whether they want to admit it or not, like you take a loss, it's just in the back of your head until you fight again. It sucks. So, you know, just ready to
Yeah,
get back in.
and that's a great respectful way of putting it. I think realistically speaking, fighting is one of the most obvious sports where both parties have to think that they're good enough to win, to beat the other person, right? I mean, that's just, I don't think that has to be done in a disrespectful way. It's just the reality of why people get in a cage together, right? Is the belief that they have the skills, and it's also good, and that's why I mentioned Ethan and Kama and John DeJesus, because taking some losses early and getting that reality check that you talked about, getting the expression is a bad taste in your mouth, and kind of finding what to fix and push yourself can really oftentimes lead to a great career, right? If you get it figured out now and you push yourself, you use the word free, that you feel very free now because you fixed the things you need to work on and you're just at a peak point. So it's very exciting stuff. Developmentally, as far as what you want out of yourself, Saturday, September 6th, what do you want to see for yourself? Is it pushing the pace for cardio? Is it diversity in strikes? Is it being able to respond to defense? Is it being able to be more offensive, win the scrambles? Something vague enough to not give a game plan away, but kind of for you to kind of look for what's going to be successful about September 6th.
I just want to be in there fully focused for 15 minutes, and that's my goal. Like, I'm not trying to put some big elaborate game plan together or be overly, thinking about, well, what is he might going to do right here? What could he do if we're in this position or some, I'm just going to go fight. We're going to go touch gloves and fight. And what happens is going to happen. Like all the work's put in. I know it sounds so cliche, but it's so true. It's like, I'm not going to fix anything like right there, think about something right there. Like we're just going to go do what we're trained to do. And that's just going to be that. And the better man's going to come out on the night. So I just got to be there on the night for those 15 minutes and be fully focused. So that's my goal.
It's a great mindset to have, and that's very straightforward. So I appreciate it. And yeah, being focused is something that you can bring to the table, regardless of the ups and downs. It could be a great night. You could have to fight through some difficulties, but like you said, you can't really plan for anything more than what you can control. It's always great chatting with you. I'm super excited to see what 247 is doing. That's why we asked first about the venue. What they're doing with the venue is incredible. They're able to crank out. They said publicly they want to do kind of one event a month, but it seems like they're going to start off with two because they're sneaking in a grappling event this Saturday and then at least the MMA. So one or more events per month is going to be great for Pittsburgh, just incredible, and it's going to be great for 247. I'd say in a year from now, from their first debut, which was a couple weeks ago, it's really going to be incredible to see where you as a fighter and other fighters that can fight more often, that don't have to worry about 6-8 months between fights because they can't get fights, hopefully with a venue that close to where you guys are and an MMA event every month, hopefully you're able to take the fights you need. And I'm just super excited. It's been great watching you progress up from an amateur and now as a pro and being able to fight local. I can't wait to see you in action. This is where I always plug the 247fighting.com website so people can buy tickets or get them from you. Make sure when you're checking out, if you're doing it online, to give the Hound-dog credit so he gets credit for it. Always select a fighter, in this case Hound-dog, when you're signing out. That's how they get their credit. And so I can't wait to see what the bar continues to move for you as a fighter and also for the venue. This is Luke Payson with the one, the only, the Hound-dog, Anthony Hogeback. Anthony, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate the time.
You're the man, brother. Thanks so much. Take care.